Good Friday morning to you. Thanks for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Michelle Beck. We're following breaking news from overnight in St. Paul. Right now, police are looking for the suspect in a drive-by shooting. This is a map of where that happened around midnight on Conway Street near the Dayton's Bluff Recreation Center. Only a few cop cars were on scene when our photographer arrived overnight. They told us someone was hit, but couldn't give us any more information. We'll update you as soon as we learn more. Pack your patience before you leave for the airport because it may take longer to get to your destination. Starting today, the FAA is slashing flights at 40 of the busiest airports across the country, including MSP. So far, more than 30 flights have been axed at our airport. That's according to FlightAware. It's part of the thousands of flights canceled across the country, and it's all due to staffing issues from the government shutdown. At the same time, there could be some relief coming for the millions of Americans who count on federal food assistance. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from Washington.
Hi there. Close to 2,000 flights have already been canceled at busy airports coast to coast. Some airlines are offering refunds or waivers for passengers to rebook as Americans feel real-world pain from the Washington shutdown gridlock. This morning, two major headlines driving home the consequences of the nation's longest government shutdown. Air travelers feeling the effects of a reduction in flights beginning today at 40 busy airports because of staffing shortages.
People are just waiting. It's been awful.
While more than 40 million Americans waiting for SNAP food assistance benefits to feed their families.
It's an avalanche.
Are getting some backup from a federal judge ordering the Trump administration to fully fund the program by today. The White House has been processing partial payments and is appealing the ruling.
In the midst of a shutdown, we can't have a federal court telling the president how he has to triage the situation.
But the judge said the lapse in payments should have been avoided, accusing the administration of ignoring his last order to quickly restart payments and of withholding them for political reasons, citing President Trump's Tuesday post threatening to stop benefits until Democrats agreed to end the shutdown. All as long lines at food banks across the country demonstrate the urgent need.
I work and then I have to get out of work so I can make a line over here to get some food and then take it home and then, we have to do a lot of extra things.
Back at airports, more long lines and growing frustration.
Come to agreement and get this government working.
The cutback in flights starting at 4% today to reduce strain on the system while air traffic controllers working without pay call out to work other jobs. If the shutdown drags on, the FAA planning to reduce flights by 6% Tuesday and 10% next Friday to ensure top safety. We're expecting another vote as soon as today on short-term funding to reopen the government. Though fueled by election wins, Democrats are increasing demands for negotiations on health care costs that they say could yield an agreement within minutes. Republicans arguing they'll talk health care once the government's reopened. In Washington, I'm Alice Barr. Back to you.
Now, communities across Minnesota are launching their own grassroots efforts to feed families affected by the SNAP benefit cuts. Right now, tourism and hospitality group Meet Minneapolis has an emergency food drive. Now until the 30th, you can donate money or drop off non-perishable canned and dry goods at the drop-off sites right here on this map. That is the Minneapolis Convention Center, Meet Minneapolis, and the DID Nicollet Community Space. For more information, head to KARE11.com/links. This morning, the first people have been identified in the deadly cargo plane crash in Louisville, Kentucky earlier this week. UPS is now sharing the 3 pilots who were killed. This is Captain Richard Wartenberg, First Officer Lee Truitt, and International Relief Officer Captain Dana Diamond. UPS released a statement saying they cannot express the sorrow they feel over this accident. NTSB investigators have been able to pull 63 hours of data from the black boxes found at the crash site. 24 flights were made in that time, including the one that crashed. We are 4 days away from a potential teacher strike in Minneapolis. In just hours, educators will get back to the negotiating table in an effort to avoid a walkout. Now, as they do, some families across the district plan to hold a rally of their own. Audrey Russo is at union headquarters with the latest.
Yeah, the families and the union are holding the rally at 4:30 this afternoon. This is going to be their 7th in just 2 days. And this is all while parents are likely going to spend the weekend trying to firm up some backup childcare plans if or when a strike happens on Tuesday. Now, as that date approaches, the Minneapolis Parks Department is actually stepping up to fill the gap. They say they're going to offer activities like expanded rec hours, gym, arts and crafts. Now, many families tell us they don't blame the teachers for the inconvenience. In fact, a group called Minneapolis Families for Public Schools has mobilized hundreds of members whose top priority is smaller class sizes. And that's actually one of the union's top priorities, too.
But the thing that we want to impress upon those folks is that we're fighting for those kids' schools. We're fighting because we love those students and we love the job we do.
Now, the district said in a statement that they're ready to meet back at the negotiating table, quote, anytime with the union in order to reach an agreement on a new 2-year contract. You can read the district's full statement on its website. Back to you.
An update now in this startling saga. The wife of a Detroit Lakes missionary is serving a murder sentence in Africa after being convicted of killing her husband in a murder-for-hire plot. In a letter to the congregation this week, the pastor of Lakes Area Vineyard Church saying Jackie Schroyer was convicted in an Angolan court last month. Angolan officials say she paid 3 men $50,000 each to kill Bo Schroyer in October of last year. Among them was the couple's housekeeper, who officials say was in a relationship with Jackie. It's not clear how long her sentence is. The pastor asked for continued prayers for the couple's 5 kids who are back in the U.S. Just last week, we told you Minnesota Rusco closed abruptly. And this morning, we're learning the home improvement business has now filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. The company listing between $100 to $500 million in debt and less than $10 million in assets, leaving customers out their down payment money. Attorney General Keith Ellison is encouraging anyone financially harmed by the closure to file a complaint with his office. New details this morning on the retirement of one of the longest-serving members of the Minnesota legislature. DFL State Senator Sandy Pappas saying she'll retire at the end of her term next year. Between the House and the Senate, Pappas has served 42 years in the state legislature. She also ran unsuccessfully for St. Paul mayor in 1997. Pappas currently chairs the Capital Investment Committee, where she has been critical in funding infrastructure projects across the state. Despite her longevity, she prefers to stick in the background.
I no longer make speeches on the floor. I might have when I started. I have a theater background. I can do it. But it's not really effective. What's effective is those things I talked about, is having those relationships with your colleagues.
She says she hopes to complete one more bill to fund infrastructure during her last session next year. If you are driving in Minneapolis today, be warned. The city says it'll start sending out tickets from its new speed cameras starting today. New data from the city's speed camera pilot shows the number of drivers going 10 over dropped by 30%, and the number of people driving more than 20 over dropped by more than 75%. For the last month, the city has only been sending warnings. Officials say tickets from these cameras will not go on your record. Minneapolis is marking 1 year since opening its Lake Street Safety Center. City leaders say they built the center with the community's needs at the forefront to curb crime in the area. It offers education, housing, and substance use resources and a place to make non-emergency police reports. Officials say it got off to a slow start, but now it's getting busier.
We've seen an uptick in the amount of people that are coming to the center, and we really want to carry that momentum forward. It can be a vital resource for this corridor in terms of the services people are able to access.
The center is open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. Stick with us. More news and weather coming up after the break.